Hi, I'm Peter Haddock and I'm here with Graham Waits, who's Head of Engineering at Ainscough. And Graham, we're at the facility here to refurbish your cranes and to make sure that all of the cranes in your fleet of nearly 400 plus cranes, folks, is in great working order. But also, I've discovered today that not only do they keep that running here, Graham, you also do a refurbishment program when you're selling them, which I've never thought would ever happen. And you've got a lot of assets right now that are selling with Ritchie Bros, and you've got this whole program of refurbishment and development all the way through, haven't you? From when you get a new crane in and people get trained on how to look after it, all the way through to the refurbished cranes. Tell me about the journey that you go through and why it's so important.
Brand standard is massive for us, Peter. So when we onboard a crane, we maximise the crane's utilisation through its life. At the end of life, we sell the crane and maximise the residual value. So brand standards is important for us while we're operating and maintaining the crane, but it's also part of how we sell the crane as well.
Now, you've been operating in the UK for a long time now, and you've got, is it about 20 depots, am I right, across the UK?
Between 20 and 30 depots nationwide.
Right. Yeah. And this site here in Stockton-on-Tees, we're here today, folks, is a specialist depot where you're doing all the major works to cranes, isn't it?
This facility supports our depot network, where our depot network are geared up for routine maintenance and minor repairs. This is a major repair facility, so all our major repairs, damage repairs, refurbishment works, major repairs that the depot are a little bit incapable of coping with, we'll cover them here. And also we do our sales preparation here for cranes that are being sold.
Now, the life cycle of a crane is really important, folks. You know, you bring them in, you've got a really strong relationship with key crane manufacturers like Liebherr. There's a lot of Liebherrs around here today, but they've got their life with you and then they've got a life afterwards. But the fundamentals of them, while they're with you, you're looking after them at every stage, aren't you? So there's constant inspections going on, and then when you need things to happen, you're bringing them in here and then you're making them, even folks, with the paintwork and with the cab, look almost brand new, aren't you? That's really important, isn't it? So not just your operators, but your customers as well.
Ultimately, we want a safe, reliable crane, but a crane that represents the Ainscough brand, and that's really important.
We're stood next to, guess what, folks? A few cranes. These cranes have gone through that process and they're ready actually now to head off to Ritchie Bros to be sold. And again, you know, you've done a lot of work on them, haven't you?
Yeah, it's important for us that whoever purchases a crane understands that they've bought an Ainscough crane.
Right.
And it's not a crane that we're just getting shut of and it's being put through the auction. It's a crane that represents Ainscough as a brand.
So what we're saying earlier, folks, is these cranes are obviously going to be transported from Stockton-on-Tees here down the road to the Maltby facility for Ritchie Bros, but they're equally going to be bought at the auction and then driven away and can go straight to site, because people will have that confidence not just in what you're doing but the inspection report that Ritchie Bros has done. That fundamentally makes you a bit of a leader in the way you're selling equipment, doesn't it?
Yeah, we want repeat business. We want people who buy an Ainscough crane to come back and buy another crane. And wherever the crane goes to in any part of the world, it'll arrive and it'll be a fully working, safe crane for them to operate.
And you were saying to me earlier, and this is quite important, folks, we know we're talking about sustainability earlier, and you were saying actually we're looking after these assets. They have, you know, a good life with you here, and the customer demand is always the most important thing for the cranes. But also then they go on to have second and even third lives. But you're also saying that people have bought your cranes, actually realise how good they are, and they've gone, we need another one, but we'll hire from you. And it really does have this whole circle, doesn't it, about the way you're approaching servicing the industry from new all the way through to used and then selling them on.
Yeah, we are a market leader in the UK, and we have to recognise our position, and all that process just supports Ainscough in what we do as a business.
Of course, you have to invest in new equipment, which, you know, is a lot more expensive than older equipment. But therefore, the asset that you've got, you have to put as much value into that as possible to get that residual value back out at the other end as well. Are you seeing that investment actually come back and pay you more?
Yeah, we do, and it's part of the life cycle of our business. Is when we purchase an asset, we maximise that asset, and the residual value of the crane when we sell the crane closes that circle, and that's why we get the maximum value out of that business model.
And I think what's interesting about this, folks, is you're dealing with a global audience when you're working with Ritchie Bros and you're using their facilities in Maltby to show off the equipment that you sell with them. But going out to a global audience of a huge nature is also important for how many bidders you're getting through and the way in which you're sweating that asset value through Ritchie Bros, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really important, and partnering with Ritchie, we're able to maximise that exposure.
So folks, what we've got here is Graham and his team doing a fantastic job to look after the assets whilst they're in use, to also have jobs here in Stockton-on-Tees which are highly skilled. And inside, we're going to go and talk to one of your colleagues, Graham, to see just how they do this refurbishment project all together. So all these cranes here are the ones that we see have gone through the process. Graham, fascinating to talk to you here today. We're talking about a few things here, folks. Sustainability, the things that you deliver on site with your cranes. We've already got all of that value in there. We've already know that all of the works can be done here, and so the customers are getting really good service. You're obviously looking after the crane drivers as well, because you're looking after the cabs and the interiors and bringing that back. Then even going on further to then the sales process, refurbing before you do that. So it all comes back around. Really is fascinating circular economy approach from Ainscough. Great to meet you today. Cheers.
Thanks, Peter.